So thank you all for just letting me take a moment of your time. We thought it would be important just because there's so many new things going on here at the church to take a moment and give everybody an opportunity to be updated and also give you guys an opportunity to ask questions if you have questions about anything that's been going on. And since we're in 50 days of Easter, of new life and growth, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to do just that. So I'm just going to go through kind of some of the things that you probably already know are going on here. We'll go through ministry and outreach, we'll talk a little bit about worship and Christian education, and then finally we'll talk about the Earth Day celebration that's happening next week that has a whole bunch of moving parts that go along with it. So first thing we're going to talk about is ministry and outreach. And a lot of these things you guys already know about, and I want to say thank you to all the volunteers that make these things possible. We have a very active Joy group that's here, and I've been able to attend many of those events, and they're always a great time. We also have the men's breakfast and the ladies' brunch, which are both still going strong. I was just at the men's breakfast yesterday, and we had to add another table on to the point that we were past fire code, so we were doing good with that. Okay. Our food pantry and our clothing closet continue to serve our community. We are now serving between 20 and 30 families a week, and that is possible through donations from the community and from members to keep that going. We also, if you take a look at our website, you can now go online and see that we have a presence there. We have all of the services listed up there, and you can always go back and watch any of the messages. And we also have a strong Facebook presence. So there's always new things being updated there that you can check out. And we also have our electronic sign, which is out front. And the fellow who wanted me to let you guys know about today, he's under the weather. Roland helped me put a lot of this PowerPoint together, so I thank him for that too. But a lot of these things, thanks to our tech team, are possible to be putting our church out there into the internet, into the social media world, and, for example, on the sign where we have not just our updates, but updates for the local community as well. We also are very active with our parish, and we did midweek services together this past Lent. We did Holy Week together with our parish, and we've also done our Bible studies that I know many of you had the opportunity to come out to. The next thing that's coming up along those lines is we have a Bible study that will be in May, and we're going to do it a little differently this time. There'll be Wednesdays in May at 9:30, and each Wednesday will be at a different location for us to all have the opportunity to gather around God's Word with members of the whole parish. So you'll see the first week in May will be here at Holy Trinity, then we'll rotate through the other churches, and then the last Wednesday we're going to be at the shelter house at Walbridge Park, because it should be nice and warm by May 29th. The open shelter house, right. The other way that we've been outreaching into the community is simply by partnering and offering space for Glass City Behavioral Health. And we've been building new connections with them all the time. You can see over here on the side with August. One of the ways we've been doing that is that we have the committees here at church each take a month, and once a month we go over to Glass City and we bring them some sort of little treat. Maybe it's Easter candy if it's Easter time. At this time it was Epiphany, so August made up all these little baggies with star chocolates in it for Epiphany, and we handed them out to all the kids. It could be a craft, all sorts of different things. But this way, the students that are over there know that we're here, and we know that they're there, and we have that face-to-face connection. On the other side, I'm going to get to this here in a little bit, but that's a picture from just this past week. I took a group of Glass City students over to the Sofia Contero Center, which is where our raised beds were made, and they are putting down the base coat of paint on the raised beds, and that's actually what our Sunday school kids are doing right now downstairs, is now they're painting designs onto the raised beds, which I'll get to more here in a little bit. So next thing I wanted to just quickly go over was Christian education. So as you guys know, we have a Sunday morning Christian education class that Allison oversees. So I encourage you all to come out to that on Sunday mornings before worship.
It's also on Zoom.
And it's also on Zoom, so you have two ways that you can connect. And as I said, downstairs right now, we have our jam group, and they are doing painting this morning. But you can see they've been doing all sorts of amazing things about God's creation this year. That's really been their focus over the past couple months. We also have some new Christian education that's been going on. We had First Communion. Those of you that were here last week, we had 8 kids receive their First Communion, which I think is really spectacular, really great to see. And we had 4 classes that we did together, and then we also did a class trip to the Hindu temple, which for those of you that got to join us for that, it was a really good time. We went there for their Holy Festival, where they throw color at you for the season of spring. And I'm also excited to let you all know that I just got an email from the temple letting me know that some of their youth is going to come to our Earth Day celebration next week. So we've created a good connection with the temple. Confirmation class, we're going to start with just a little update after worship today, but there'll be 4 classes planned right now. We have 5 students, and 2 of those are from Bethel that will be joining us as well. And then we plan to do a summer retreat, which will be in July, and it'll be the 25th through the 27th-ish, and it'll be open to the whole congregation. We're planning to go up towards like Lakeside Marblehead, so more information about that to come. We also continue to have the midweek prayer group, which meets on Zoom every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, so I encourage you to join them as well. They continue to meet and continue to share prayers and have an opportunity for folks to connect. So now I just wanted to go over just a couple of the updates around our building. One is, if you've been in the church office, you notice that we switched things up in there a little bit, and we've also changed the offices upstairs back into working offices again. Also, the kids redesigned both of the cry rooms to make them into playrooms. There's also new computers and equipment in the office. There's new outside security lights. There's expanded Wi-Fi coverage to the whole church. And also the chapel, if you've been in there, has been renewed with the pews going and finding different homes. I think most of the pews are here or they've gone home with congregation members. And so now that space can be used for worship, but it can also be used, for example, this morning, the youth were over there when we started worship, and they were able to play and be able to be right here with us and then come back over for worship. But it can also be used for meeting space and for other activities. And then another space that we cleaned out, just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we've all been doing, volunteers and staff and all of us together. This is the space that was downstairs where the library is, and it's from all the Sunday school supplies coming over from the other side of the building. And then those supplies made their way up here so they can be used for Sunday school. And that is what the space looks like today. So coming up over the next 2 weeks, we have some worship opportunities. I just wanted to let you all know. Patty just mentioned this. Next week, Nick Bates will be here from the Hunger Network. And again, be sure to sign up if you'd like to come to the Lunch and Learn after church. The following week, we'll have Chaplain Greg Olson here. And he is from the Jenna Cross Lutheran Services. I think many of you have met him before, but he'll be here to answer questions about their program, especially since they've recently gone through some transitions. And lastly, about worship, second to last here is, we've introduced the idea of Young at Heart every Sunday, and I've really enjoyed that. That's one of my favorite parts of worship, is including the kids. So I want to say thank you to all of you for being so receptive of not just a children's message, but then when we actually take those Sundays, when we just do the whole Sunday and focus it on the youth. That's a lot of fun for me, and I think the kids really enjoy it. And it's just a new way for us to worship together and experience the Holy Spirit working through us. There are some numbers up there at the top, just to show you an idea of growth. So last year we had 107 here on Easter, and this year we had 134. The Sunday after Easter is usually a lower Sunday, and we had 78 the year before, and this year we had 129. So we definitely have seen some growth, and so I hope that that will continue for all of us. And our worship continues on beyond these walls. So the first picture over there is a picture taken from Zoom, just to show you that every Sunday we still have at least 10 or more people that usually join us on Zoom, people who are traveling, and some people that is just the way that they're able to join on with us, and they're joining us right now as well through Zoom. And then of course we continue our worship in Walbridge Park, which will be starting up here just shortly. So last thing I want to talk about is our Earth Day event. So now that we've kind of gone through worship, through our outreach programs, through our different ministries that we have in Christian education, this event next Sunday is by the Multi-Faith Council. And it's really exciting because it's an opportunity for us all kind of to rally around something together. So I hope that you'll be able to join us. It's going to be from 4 to 6. And the really exciting thing that we just found out is that the city has approved for us to close Glendale right here in front of the church. So we can have the event right out front of the church. Park Church is joining us as well, so the neighbors can really see what's going on, and we can get some of the community to come and join us. The other exciting thing is I think we now have over 15 different organizations that will have tables set out, so there'll be lots of interesting things to come and see. I know Park's going to set up their snow cone machine. Mateo Farms is going to have a farm stand out there for you to get fresh food. So there'll be lots of interesting things. There'll also be a multi-faith prayer service, and there'll be the Sacred Grounds group will be giving a presentation. There'll be children's activities, and most exciting, there will be a service project for us to create some gardens here at the church. So the first garden I'm going to talk about is the Three Sisters Garden, and this will be over that way, if you know where the second parking lot is, where the old playground was. So there's going to be 3 raised beds there, and since we are the Holy Trinity, I thought it was appropriate for us to do a Three Sisters Garden. If you haven't heard of a Three Sisters Garden before, this was one of the ways that indigenous people would grow, and the way that they would do it is you grow corn, beans, and squash together. The corn grows up, the beans grow up the corn, and the squash is a ground cover to protect the soil. So they were grown in a circle, as you can see from the diagrams down there on the bottom. So they're going to be kind of unique. They're not your traditional rectangle raised bed. They're going to be more of like a circle. And I've been working with Joe from the Sofia Quintero Center. He's like the person to go to build raised beds, and he has already got the boards for us, and as I said, they're painted, and now they're being decorated downstairs right now. And whatever they don't finish downstairs for Sunday school, the Glass City kids will be able to continue to work on them this week. So then those will be planted in May, and throughout the summer, the way they'll be maintained is the garden club from Glass City will be available to help water and maintain them with the help of some volunteers here to help oversee that process. We'll also be getting our seeds from Toledo Grows downtown, and another place that I just got the seeds from the other day is True Love Seeds. This is a group from Philadelphia, and the cool thing is all their seeds have a story, so I'll be sure to share that with all of you about where their seeds come from. The other garden will be right out front, and then calling it the Pastor's Garden only because the seeds that I'm going to use are from all those sunflowers that I grew at Widewater. Hopefully they're still viable, I guess I'll find out. And the idea is as those will grow up above the wall out front, so people as they drive by will be able to see those sunflowers. So once we do this, what we can do is actually get a pin on the Sacred Grounds website and be certified as a Sacred Grounds location. So that's going to be part of the process as well. And if anybody's willing to help me with that part, I don't think I put that on my thing at the end, but I could use somebody's help to kind of fill out the paperwork to apply to be a Sacred Grounds location. And what that's basically saying is that we have native plants, we're a wildlife sanctuary, and that we've beautified our space to make it a sacred ground. So any faith community can apply to be part of this program. And one of the last things I just wanted to mention is that downstairs right now we have chickens that are in eggs, that are incubating, I hope. And these came from Matamora Farms. He got us the eggs, and so I believe there's 9 of them in there. And Jeff and I went down and checked on Friday, and we took a flashlight and shined it through, and we could see some stuff moving. So I think that some of them are viable. And so if my calculations are correct, they'll be hatched right around next Sunday. So if you'd like to go take a look at them now, they're downstairs in the library. I didn't want to move them too much. I was thinking of bringing them up here, but figured leave them where they are. But then we'll have some chicks for the guests to check out. After that, those chicks will then go back to the farm, and they will become egg-laying hens. So if you would like to get some eggs from the chickens that we've raised, you just need to go to the farmer's market, because that's where Andy has his stand set up every Saturday. So some of them might stay right here, is what Patty's saying as well, because we have neighbors that might want to take them. So why chicks and gardens? Well, in Matthew it says, "How often I've desired to gather your children together as a hen gathers her brood under her wings. And yet you're not willing. See, your house is left to you desolate." So Jesus longed to be a mother hen for the people of Jerusalem, and longed for the house of Jerusalem to grow and not be desolate. So this spring we have the opportunity to gather together, literally gather together a brood of chicks under our wings and watch as our house grows with new gardens. With both the gardens and the chicks, it gives our community a new way to connect with one another. Our congregation can connect now with Glass City in a new way, and we can also connect now with our pantry in a new way, because we can do that through maintaining the gardens. Also, the food harvest from the gardens can provide food for our renters, Glass City, for our congregation members, and for our pantry guests as they come in. So we will have the opportunity to literally break bread with all of those that find Holy Trinity as home. And not only does it connect us with people who are already here, but like with the Earth Day celebration, it gives us an opportunity to connect with the greater community. So, as Jesus says in Luke, now the parable is this: the seed is the word of God. So for us to truly begin to understand Jesus' parable, then we need to be immersed in God's word. And many of Jesus' parables are in reference to growing and gardening. So it can benefit all of us to be surrounded by gardens here at the church and growing seeds and hatching chicks together. So again, this is just a little update about all the new life that's going on. And this is just kind of a list of update of all the things that we went over that are coming up here in the next couple months. Lastly, that I wanted to say is that we are a volunteer-led church, and you guys all know that. And so for the event coming up this coming Sunday, I do need some help. And so Nancy has some pieces of paper we're going to pass around. Okay, so on this, if you're interested in helping out, there's a couple different things that we need help with. First off is we need some tools. So we're going to need them just to borrow for just this coming Sunday. So we don't need to keep your tools. You can take them back. But what we need is some 5-gallon buckets to pick up soil and move it, shovels, rakes, gloves. If you have a tamper, it might be helpful, and a level. So if you have any of these things, you can put your name up here and let us know what you have so we can plan for that. And there's a basket in the back that you can put it in. Then down at the bottom, there's some other ways that you can help out, and you can circle any of those things that you might be interested in. So for example, the first one says, if you're interested in being a team leader to oversee the service projects. So that's if you're able to be here between 4 and 6. Actually, if you could get here a little early that day, that'd be great. I need a couple people to just be at each location that I can meet with you maybe or talk to you on the phone to just make sure you're clear on what's going to get done for the service projects. The second thing is I need a couple people who could just be outside close to the barricades to kind of direct people as to where they can park, because people might be looking for parking. It would be great to have somebody as a door monitor, so if someone's looking for the bathroom, we can send them inside. And there's also going to be a table set up for the South Toledo Parish. So if anyone would like to sit at the table for the parish, which will have information about our church as well, I'll need some folks to do that. And then lastly, this is more of a long-term thing. If you're interested in being on a garden team throughout the whole summer, it wouldn't be a huge commitment, because what we could do is rotate through and just have a volunteer go out with Glass City on occasion to kind of go over like, okay, this needs to be weeded, don't weed that, we want that, all that kind of stuff. So we can help them out. They do have their own teachers, so they're totally capable of doing this as well. But I think it would be a great way for us to connect with Glass City, is to have some of us go over and do the gardening with them. So if you're interested in that, even if you're not sure if you can do all the up and down, you can also just go over and be there with them as they maintain the gardens. So are there any questions about next week or about any of the things that I covered? Oh, there's Nancy showing us the basket in the back. Well, thank you all for your time today. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or any of the staff, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. I'm excited to see that there's so much growth that we've had so far. And believe it or not, in just 2 more months, I will have been here for a whole year. My family and I will be. So that's very exciting.